Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the BytesBurn Podcast. And we are super excited to be with you today. I know it's been a while and you guys have missed us and we've missed you as well. But that's why we come with interesting topics, interesting content for you today. So be sure to watch the end. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment and share with your loved ones. So we'll get straight into the topic for today. But just before that, to introduce ourselves. My name is Stacey Honora, and I am your lovely host. And with me, I have my amazing co-host, Idris Lawal. Yeah. So getting straight into it for today,
Great to be back again this week.
you can see the smile on Idris' face that, he's excited to be back on your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting straight into it for today, um, something that caught our eyes on the news, for tech around the world is the fact that we have um, a case where, an AI model escaped sandbox, right? And that definitely sparked some curiosity. Like, what does that even mean? Right. And based on what we've seen in the news, reports, articles, and just information around that, the first one we'll be talking about is the one around Hugging Face, where there was basically an attack from an autonomous AI agent, right? It was until later that they found out that it was actually an OpenAI model that was supposed to be in testing phase. So basically, they were testing the model in a contained sandbox environment, but that wasn't, how it ended up. So basically, the AI model was able to escape the sandbox environment and was able to reach the production environment of Hugging Face, right? And that led to it having access to their production system, being able to run, commands and do stuff on their system. And OpenAI is like, yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen, but it kind of did. So the thing is, was the sandbox environment really contained enough for this AI testing? And, what are the impacts related to testing in a controlled environment that, as it seems, isn't really controlled at the end of the day? So it just what did you feel when you saw it? Like, did you also spark the same curiosity? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you say sandbox, you expect that this is an environment that is logically separate from every other environment, and it is contained in such a way that whatever it does, the blast radius is just within that environment. And for it to say escaped sandbox, which sounds very ominous, that what exactly were the things that were put in place for this sandbox environment, to such that an AI model can simply just up and move about. And it happened, that OpenAI was testing this model. It is not in their release, that it is none of the currently existing models that they've released. So this is a model they don't have a name for yet, and they were testing the capabilities of this model, and it happened to snake out and attack Hugging Face. And I think if you look through the timelines of attack, and it's actually quite in depth in terms of how it got access to OpenAI service. And I think it's also quite serious because it actually got privileged access in their Kubernetes pods for certain environments. And that was really wild for me because um OpenAI is testing something. Let's even ignore the fact that it is in sandbox. It is OpenAI, and then he attacked Hugging Face. You would expect that even if it escaped sandbox, it's probably hacked some OpenAI systems elsewhere. But
Mhm.
no, it left OpenAI system to attack Hugging Face. I think it's quite serious. But there's a partnership between OpenAI and Hugging Face, so I believe they would have smooth things behind the scenes to appease Hugging Face. But if it's, definitely if it wasn't that they have a partnership or something, OpenAI would have probably been facing a lawsuit by now.
Yeah.
And
I think it was malicious, to
uh,
be honest. So imagine if it was
it,
malicious.
yeah, yeah, and that's the reality of this new AI systems. That the fact that a 0-day bug can be easily exploited by these agents that are constantly checking the web for vulnerabilities, and um it's happened as well that Hugging Face were able to track the logs and find what exactly was going on.
Yeah.
And they even have this infographic where they showed the timeline of attack. They started on the 9th of July
Mm,
all the way to the 13th.
mm,
And it was the AI model. So that means it wasn't just even a few hours or few seconds thing. And the AI model kept escalating its privilege until it's got into the servers. And Hugging Face had to use an open source model, GLM 5.2, which is built by a Chinese company, and they had to use that to basically secure their servers. And this is, of course, a win for open source, because from also the report, I think they attempted to use Claude, but Claude was too restrictive in a sense that they couldn't use it, and they had to resort to open source.
mm,
And thank God for the Chinese open source models. They've been doing a wonderful job of releasing these open source out models out there. It has really helped for people who want to self-deploy AI models, or researchers around the world and all of that. So this is quite an event that needs to be looked at, the security of these AI models.
mm,
But you know, for better or worse, I don't think we'll be hearing the last of this kind of issues, because yeah, that probably takes us to the next thing that we are probably going to talk about again, which is a new AI model that escaped sandbox. You know, and at the moment I saw that, it was just, my head just went like, okay, what's exactly is going on? Is it that the definition of sandbox has changed? Is it that you people are testing things in prod now, or what's
mm,
going on?
mm,
Um, yeah, and that's the Kimi K3 model by Moonshot. I think the name of the company is called Moonshot AI in China. The model has been released. People are testing it and working with it. It's an open source model, so everyone that has the capability to self-deploy these models can play around with it. And this time it escaped sandbox from some cybersecurity researchers who were trying to test the cybersecurity capabilities of the model.
yeah.
And it happened that they were trying to evaluate the model, but the model wanted to get access to the internet to provide responses for their evaluations.
Uh-huh.
And the model basically found a configuration bug in its network configuration, and reconfigured itself to have network access, and was able to check, go over to the internet to pull whatever answer they were trying to derive from it, which is interesting. Um, given the fact that these researchers were basically trying to evaluate the model. The model didn't have the answer, and they decided to go on the internet to pick the answer. This also, gives further insights into the fact that these AI models are not always built with security in mind, or with guardrails that ensure that they keep to the whatever environment you are running them in. And a cause for concern, I would say, amongst those who are running these models on their own, and also the people that are building these models.
Yeah. I think, a similarity between the two, you know, occurrences was that OpenAI was also running an internal cybersecurity evaluation called Exploits Gym, right? And they're both trying to like test the limits of what these AI models can do. But at the end of the day, it's like where they are testing or the environments they are testing is not safe enough. So those AI models will basically exploit anything it can exploit to get out of the sandbox environment, which means it's no longer in a testing environment. And, they are able to exploit tokens and things like that to be able to basically achieve the goal you've given it, right? But yeah, interesting times. It's looking like something out of a sci-fi. When you said the whole, get access, reconfigure itself, it's giving like I've forgotten the name of the movie, but it's basically giving sci-fi, right? All the sci-fi movies. And like I said, interesting times.
Yeah, interesting times, and we can only hope at this point because there's a lot of investment being poured into AI, and these AI companies are in a kind of race to build the better model and all of that, because they want to you want to win customers and all that. You
Mhm.
want to capture that large share of the market, because in reality, if they don't capture as much market share as possible, then all of their investments, it will be hard for them to make a return on all their investments, because there's a lot of investment being poured into AI development, especially into data centers as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, these AI companies are always going to try to create the best and the most intelligent model, and they're also running at that startup speed of moving fast and breaking things.
Mhm.
And this is especially dangerous given the context, the technology that has been built in this context. And we only hope to see safer AI deployments in the future.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of this episode of the BytesBurn podcast. And, let's hear your comments about what you have to say about AI models escaping sandbox and just generally around the AI model race. And be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share with your loved ones. Bye.
Bye.